the truth is painful.
You can't handle the truth!
Welcome to Todd Wrestles with the Truth, my AEW Week In Review. Tonight was Dark Elevation. A long episode tonight with 15 matches. Wow. And some really great wrestling and a really great interview with Paul White. So let's get into it. First match of the night was Lee Johnson versus David Ali. Great match. Another two great wrestlers, rookies, and Lee Johnson got the win on the night. Again, just a great way to start off the program. Next match of the night was Eddie Kingston versus VSK. Yeah, Eddie Kingston's crazy. This guy is crazy. Great match. Yeah, Eddie Kingston got the win on this one. He was just a beast. I don't think anything stops this guy. I mean, this guy took several good blows and just didn't stop. Yeah, he just got the win on the night because he just outworked VSK. Next match of the night was Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky versus Fuego del Sol and Baron Black. Another great match. As I've said before, I love Scorpio Sky. He didn't have to go bad guy for me but hey, whatever works. He's just a great wrestler. Like I said, I still don't know why he left SCU, because he was a great part of SCU, and then to go on a singles run, but then they immediately partner him up with Ethan Page. So I don't know, but they work well together. They seem to be having a lot of fun. They seem to actually be good friends, so they probably are outside the ring. And Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky get the win when Ethan Page hits Fuego del Sol with a monstrous Ego's Edge, he calls it. Fuego del Sol got some serious air. I mean, there's no way to not say that. He was so high up in the air, and he just crashed down like it looked very painful. And then Ethan Page covered him for the win. It was a great match. Another one. I mean, just one after another. And here's the great interview I was talking about. Paul White interviewed Danny Limelight. I think it's really cool that they met overseas in Iraq or Afghanistan. I remember where he said. When Paul White was over there when they were doing a WWE for the troops thing, and he met Danny Limelight over there when Danny Limelight was serving over there as a Marine. And they've kept in touch this whole time, and it just so happens that Danny Limelight came to AEW, and so did Paul White. And so they reunited. They talked during the show for this interview. It was great. And then you find out that legitimately that Danny Limelight could kill every member of the AEW roster. Legitimately. It comes out in the interview that Danny Limelight, not only being a Marine, he was a drill instructor and one of their top combat martial art trainers for the Marine Corps. So yeah, he could legitimately kill every member of the AEW roster. So that was really funny and a great interview. If you wanted to watch something that was really great interview, really great story, watch this interview with Paul White and Danny Limelight. Next match of the night was Thunder Rosa versus Renee Michelle. Yeah, good match again, good women's match. Thunder Rosa, just a great wrestler. Yeah, she's good. She's definitely one of the top tier female wrestlers in AEW. And yeah, she got the win on the night, locking in this crazy, I don't even know what it was, submission hold that I don't think I've ever seen this one before. But yeah, Renee Michelle tapped out in less than a minute once this thing was applied. So yeah, Thunder Rosa, great match, got the win. Next match of the night was Chuck Taylor and his best friends at ringside, Trent Cassidy and Kris Statlander against Val Morales. And yeah, this was just a case of Chuck Taylor being big and strong and Morales being short and fast, and he just got beaten up by Chuck Taylor. And that's basically what this match was. It was good wrestling, but yeah, Chuck Taylor was just big and strong and just overpowered Morales, got the win in a good match. And the next match of the night was Layla Hirsch versus Danny Jordan. So this match started off really funny because Danny Jordan was making fun of Layla Hirsch's height. Because I don't even think Layla Hirsch is 5 feet tall. Maybe 5 feet tall. But then when Danny Jordan got in the ring with Layla Hirsch, Danny Jordan wasn't that much taller than Layla Hirsch. Maybe an inch or two? It looked like she wasn't even that much taller. So I thought, well, that's hilarious. You're making fun of somebody for being short, and you're barely taller than that person. But another great match. Layla Hirsch, another great wrestler. She's got some skills. She, for being short, this girl can work. And Danny Jordan just couldn't back up the smack talk. So once Layla Hirsch got her in the cross arm bar, it was over. Danny Hirsch tapped out so fast. So yeah, lesson to be learned. Don't talk trash if you can't back it up. Layla Hirsch gets the win. Next match of the night was Matt Sydal against Manny Smith. I think this is maybe the first time I've seen Manny Smith. So this is a great match against, him going against a real veteran like Matt Sydal. He's been around for a while. And that's what it came down to. Came down to Matt Sydal being the veteran and using moves and escapes and stuff that, only a veteran like of his many years would be doing so quickly as he did. And plus he's fast and he's agile. And Matt Sydal got the win on the night. It was a great match. Has been every match for this night. Next match of the night was Jade Cargill, the new rookie, I guess you'd say, signing for AEW. She's supposed to be she's going to be a star in AEW. They've already pretty much said it. Against Rika Tahaki, who I think is amazing. This girl is good. She should be a star in AEW because she's got some skills. Just seeing some of the matches she's had already, that she's lost because, she's new there and she's losing to some of the other more pushed people. But yeah, she's got skills. She's going to be a major star if she sticks around with AEW because she's good. But being that Jade Cargill is the current flavor of the month and the new rookie signing, she got the win. I'm not taking anything away from Jade Cargill. She's good. She's got some skills. So again, another great women's match in AEW now. And Jade Cargill got the win. The next match of the night was Matt Hardy and Mark Quinn, which was interesting because normally it's Private Party, but Matt Hardy was tag teaming with him, and Isaiah Cassidy was on the outside against Dean Alexander and Dylan McQueen. The weird thing about this match was that Mark Quinn came out in street clothes, so I don't know if that's a sign of disrespect or just his arrogance instead of putting his wrestling gear on. Even Matt Hardy came out in his wrestling gear, so I don't know what that was about, but maybe lost his wrestling gear. I'm not sure. But it was a good match. I mean, again, it's Matt Hardy. Anybody with Matt Hardy is going to do good because Matt Hardy is the consummate professional and veteran. And this one ended with Matt Hardy locking in his new finishing move, submission move called the Leech on Dean Alexander, and Dean Alexander tapping out. Which is interesting because it seems like a lot of the wrestlers in AEW, like within the last few months, have all started coming up with their own submission moves when they never had submission moves before. Like Matt Hardy, instead of using his Twist of Fate finishing move that he's always used, he suddenly starts busting out a submission move, which I don't remember seeing Matt Hardy use submission moves hardly ever, if at all, but it's just weird how all these new AEW guys are suddenly busting out submission moves now, that when a lot of them never used them before. So I don't know what's going on, but it's interesting. Hey, keeps things rolling, I guess, huh? But yeah, Matt Hardy and Mark Quinn got the win. And the letdown of the night. Again, I made my feelings very, very known about this, is Britt Baker sucks. I don't care how many people keep trying to say she doesn't. This was another thing of, oh, look, a squash match for Britt Baker. And the match was so poor that at times you actually saw Rochelle Rose have to slow down so that Britt Baker could actually keep up. Which, that's horrible. And Britt Baker is not a good wrestler. That's why they keep giving her squash matches, so she can pretend to be good while she's not faced any top tier women athletes. The only time she did with Thunder Rosa in that unsanctioned match, which conveniently didn't count for a win-loss, but she got her butt handed to her by Thunder Rosa, because Thunder Rosa is 100 times better. I think even Layla Hirsch would beat her butt. So it's just BS, I think. And I don't think she's good at all. If you watch her matches, she's not a good wrestler. When you watch like Thunder Rosa, Hikaru Shida, Riho, Mizunami, Layla Hirsch, all these great top tier women, they all out wrestle her by 100 times. And so, yeah, just another squash match for Britt Baker to make her look like she's something before being given a title shot coming up for actually defeating no one. Okay, AEW, whatever. Now, here's another great wrestler. She hasn't even faced, like, Tay Conti beat the crap out of her. Tay Conti is an amazing wrestler. Another one of these women who are so awesome, and that yet you have her lose to Hikaru Shida. So there's no way in hell that Britt Baker had better win this match. And if it is, it's a joke, because Tay Conti could take Britt Baker apart. Really, actually could take her apart. She's like a black belt and a blue belt in 2 different martial arts. And so she could take her, she could rip her apart. Poor Maddie Rinkowski here, having a bad week. Actually, bad couple of weeks now. 3 weeks now, I think it is. She took the loss again, getting beat up again this time by Tay Conti. But yeah, a good match. Tay Conti is a great wrestler. She's good. And just another one of those people you point out and laugh, because WWE had her for a little while and did absolutely nothing with her and released her because they didn't know what to do with her. She comes to AEW and she's kicking butt. Another great win for Tay Conti. Next match of the night was Jurassic Express, this time without Luchasaurus. So that was interesting to see these two go at it without Luchasaurus around. So it was funny. I was like, wait, where's Luchasaurus? Another great match against Chaos Project. And again, Luther. Looney as a... Oh, man. He's crazy. He's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Oh, my God. I love... And it's funny and not funny at the same time, but he keeps using Serpentico as a weapon. He picked him up and used him as a battering ram at one point. And he picked him up and literally threw him at I think Jungle Boy. It's just funny because the poor guy, he's getting beat up by Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt, and then he's getting beat up by his own tag team partner. So I don't know. I'm like, dude, are you okay, man? Jurassic Express gets the win when Marco Stunt gets the pin on Serpentico. Another great match. Like I said, I laughed at a lot of this stuff when Luther was just using his own tag team partner as a weapon. It was hilarious. Next match of the night was Isaiah Cassidy, which is usually Private Party, but like I said, Mark Quinn tag teamed with Matt Hardy tonight for some reason, but okay. But against Alex Reynolds of the Dark Order. Good. Another really good match. The two of them work really well together. I mean, because they're both fast, they both can do some seriously great moves. But it's the constant interference for Matt Hardy and Mark Quinn really got annoying. And then at the end, Alex Reynolds got the win over Cassidy, which was really awesome to see. And but then the aftermath beatdown, I guess, was really, again, I think it's the second week in a row. I think something was really wonky with this. So Mark Quinn attacked John Silver outside. Then they jumped in, but Matt Hardy came up behind Colt Cabana, who is a big dude. I mean, if you haven't seen Colt Cabana, he doesn't look big until he's standing next to other people, and he's big. He's got to be about 6'5", at least, I think, because he looks so big, and grabbed Colt Cabana and slammed him into the guardrail. I mean, this is something that could happen like a dozen times a night, that hurts. Yes, because it's metal. But then they get back up and they start fighting again. Well, one slam into the guardrail And then Matt Hardy jumps in the ring and they start beating up Alex Reynolds and John Silver, who's still suffering a shoulder injury. And then they hold, Private Party holds John Silver and makes him watch Matt Hardy put the leech on Alex Reynolds. Okay, they do that. Then they all get out of the ring and they're all ha-ha laughing. And then Colt Cabana gets back in the ring. I'm like, wait, I've seen Colt Cabana get slammed into that guardrail, get slammed into the ring post, and get slammed on the floor, and he gets up 20 times faster than one being thrown into a guardrail. So this is the second time when something hokey like this has happened with Colt Cabana. I mean, last week's was, him going out and fighting when there was already two people beating up two people, and he was fighting as a third on 3-on-2, and then he just stops and turns around and looks back at the ring, and then watches his tag team partner get hit and then pinned, and doesn't even bother to come in to assist him. So this is the second time something like this has happened. So it's really weird. I don't know what they're doing, but yeah, Alex Reynolds got the win though, so that's what counts. But this is going to lead to, I think it's going to lead to it's got to lead to a big blow up brawl, like a war game style thing or something, between the Dark Order just coming out and decimating Matt Hardy and the rest of his little gang. And the last match of the night was another great match. Jon Moxley shows up to face Danny Limelight, who we saw that great interview with earlier in the night. But the thing that was amazing, even before this match started, was that Jon Moxley walked out carrying the IWGP United States title. That is amazing, because this is the first time ever that New Japan, other than being a pay-per-view event or some kind of a pay-per-view crossover with Ring of Honor, but it was a pay-per-view. It wasn't a solid their own promotion. Has allowed anybody to show one of their belts on a rival promotion. And when he walked out with that belt, I was shocked. I was like, holy crap, that's awesome. So hopefully what's labeled the Forbidden Door, with some of the stuff that's going on, is going to mean that, we'll hopefully get to see more crossover stuff with New Japan, because that would be awesome. I would like to see a lot of people from New Japan come to AEW and wrestle, especially Kota Ibushi, because I'd love to see him come over and kick the crap out of his friend Kenny Omega, maybe beat some sense into him to stop listening to Don Callis, who's just a troll. But yeah, another great match. Jon Moxley got the win with his new finishing move, which again is a submission move. So I thought that was weird. Yeah, so like I said, all these people now coming out with submission moves. I don't know why, if it's a thing, if they're getting ready to do something with that. But yeah, another good move, another good match. So, I mean, other than the Britt Baker match on the night, this was 14 out of 15 good matches. So I would rank this at 4 out of 5 stars. If the Britt Baker one hadn't been in there, or they would have had another person with some talent actually doing something, this could have been a Dark Elevation 5 out of 5 stars, because that's how good this show was. And having 15 matches on, this was incredible. So yeah, Dark Elevation, yeah, 4 out of 5 easy. Probably high 4 out of 5. Yeah, if it wasn't for the one match of Britt Baker holding him back. Well, if you enjoyed this review video, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video for my AEW Week In Review. Welcome to Todd's Truth. Todd wrestles with the truth. My AEW Week In Review. Tonight was AEW Dark. Another great show. I mean, and a big show. There was 16 matches on this night. 16 matches. Yeah, that's a lot. About 99% of the show was good and really good, but there was a few letdowns in the show. So let's get into this review. First match of the night. Again, I laugh every time I say this name. Milk Chocolate. I don't know what it just makes me laugh. Versus Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. Yeah. Milk Chocolate got wrecked. Kingston and Moxley just destroyed these two guys like they should never have been in the ring with them. from before the bell rang till they put the finishing move on. It was it was just a beating. When it was over, milk chocolate was sprayed all over the ring because they just killed him. Don't get in the ring with Moxley and Kingston. They will just beat the crap out of you. And that's exactly what this was. This wasn't so much of a wrestling match as it was just a destruction of milk chocolate. Boy, wow. Yeah. Just watch this. It wasn't a very long match. It didn't even last that long because they just killed him. Oh, man. Next match of the night was a 6-man match between Dark Order's Evil Uno, Alan 5, Angels, and Colt Cabana. I don't know where Stu Grayson was, but he wasn't on Dark tonight. So, but yeah, any pairing of the Dark Order guys it's really good. And what I really liked about this match was that you saw a little more of that bad guy tendency coming out in Evil Uno and number 5, Alan Angels, which I liked. I was wanting them. I'm like, get back to being meaner like you used to be. Put the fear of God in some of these people that are, trying to, take you down. And some of that came out in this match because they completely beat the crap out of these 3 guys. Poor 3 guys, man. And Evil Uno did some dirty tricks, which, going back to the old Evil Uno, which I was cheering on, going, yes, that's what I want to see. Stop being so nice, and it's time to get back to being the Dark Order. You're not the Lollipop Guild. It's the Dark Order. You shouldn't be running around like with being all sweet and innocent, people. Come on, guys. But yeah, the Dark Order got the win. And this was just Lance Archer being Lance Archer, the Murder Hawk. Poor Angel Fashion here. I don't even think he got the bell ring before Lance Archer destroyed him. And he just completely obliterated Angel Fashion. Maybe he should go into Fashion because I don't know if he's going to be alive after that match because, good Lord, Lance Archer's just a beast. And yeah, Lance Archer got the win by just completely destroying his opponent. And this was an okay match. I wouldn't call it a good match. It was okay. The Factory comes out. It was supposed to be a 6-man. Camarado picks up the steel steps, puts him on the stage like he normally does for QT to sit on. But QT was supposed to be in this match. But QT sat on the stairs, on the stage, while 2 of the 3 did like a handicap match here. It was Solo and Camarado against Jake Logan, Ryzen, and Arisen, and however you pronounce his name, I don't remember. Rick Recon. And it's basically a handicap match for the whole thing. And then when Camarado got his finishing move on Risen, then QT stood up, walked over to the ring, told Camarado to tag him in. He took his jacket off, walked in, hit Risen with the diamond cutter, and got the pin. So apparently he didn't think that this match was worth his time, except for his glory to get the pin, I guess. But then people were yelling, the people in attendance were yelling at him that he tapped out to Cody Rhodes. So that pissed him off. He came back. He got back in the ring and put the figure 4 leg lock on Risen. What for? You already lost. So was this just trying to stroke your own ego that you did tap out, that you lost the match to Cody? So I'm not sure. But yeah, the Factory got the win. This was a pretty good match. This was the first appearance of JAYLEN BRANDYN and TRAEVON Jordan. This was their first appearance on AEW against the Varsity Blondes. This was a pretty good match. The Varsity Blondes came out with a new cheerleader. So she's one of the new female wrestlers, which is funny because she's blonde too, and she looks like she's a varsity cheerleader, which has worked out pretty well. And so yeah, this was a good match. I mean, good showing for a first time for the 2 new guys, but the Varsity Blondes did get the win. Next match was Diamante is good. She's a good wrestler. Willow Nightingale is she's another one of these that's going to be, she's going to be good. She's coming along. You know, her skills are good already, but I mean, but when you got Diamante across from you, she's one of the top women's talent anywhere. Good match. I mean, yeah, size, Diamante being a little smaller than Nightingale, but Diamante is the veteran, and she had some wily moves. Yeah, she got the win in this match, and it was a good women's match. This match, I'm sick of seeing this Dante Martin wearing that stupid armband, and I'm really not going to give it any time because he's just a little punk, and I don't know why AEW is allowing him to wear that. Let's keep politics and bullshit out of wrestling. How about that? But again, Martin, because they're pushing him for whatever God knows reason, got the win. Here's another one I don't care about. Nyla Rose should not be wrestling women. It's a man, not a woman. Of course, this big man is going to get a win over this woman. Unfair. Like, I want to know now that there's a new Florida law that just got signed. I think it goes into effect on July 1st. That called the Fairness in Women's Sports Act. That does not allow any biological males to compete in any women's sports. It's now illegal in Florida. This is a Florida company, so I want to know if this is going to change, if this means Nyla Rose is going to be pulled out of competing against women, because this is considered a sport. They say it's considered a sport. It's not like WWE where they don't call it a sport anymore. It's entertainment, and it is, you know, theater basically. Well, they still call AEW and other wrestling groups sports, and so this is considered a sport. So I want to know if this is going to change this, or how they're going to say it's not a sport so they don't have to follow that law. We'll find out. The next match was a really good match as well. Ryan Nemeth is coming along nicely, being newer to the AEW, but they're pushing him. And Cesar Bononi is really come along, in his wrestling since he got with this group, especially since he started teaming up with Peter Avalon. So this was really good. Really good match. You can see both of them coming along really well and showing what they can do in this match. And it was good. They got the win. Nemeth and Bononi did. And like I said, a really good match. And this was Kris Statlander against Julia Hart. Julia Hart is the new cheerleader that came out with the Varsity Blondes. But the weird thing I thought this was, she came out and supported the Varsity Blondes during their match. But when Julia Hart came out for this match with Kris Statlander, had the best friends at ringside, the Varsity Blondes were nowhere to be found. So I thought that was kind of weird. You come out and support us, we're not going to come out and support you. So I thought it would have been good for them to come out and support her, even though she was going to lose to Kris Statlander, but come out and support her. And, because the best friends were all out there. So I thought that was kind of a funny move. But yeah, Kris Statlander got the win with her finishing move, the Big Bang. This was a great match too. Marty Cassis versus Jungle Boy. Marty was on a previous episode, I can't remember if it was Elevation or Dark last week, where he faced off against Brian Cage. And he actually took Brian Cage pretty well. I mean, they beat each other pretty senseless. Showing he's a big, strong dude that could stand up to, the machine Brian Cage. This match was pretty good. He was pretty well, taking care of Jungle Boy. A lot of times Jungle Boy would try some of his high-flying moves, and he would catch him or reverse him and stuff like that. So it was only that Cassis made a couple of mistakes that allowed Jungle Boy to get the win. He crashed into the turnbuckle, and then Jungle Boy hit him in the back of the head with an running elbow, which knocked him down. And then Jungle Boy is able to get the win by locking in his new submission move, the snare trap. So this is another one. He gets the win, Jungle Boy does, but it's another one I was talking about before. Why are all of these AEW wrestlers that have never done submission moves, all of them are suddenly coming out with submission moves. I don't know if this is something AEW is doing or if they're pushing something or what, but like Jungle Boy was a high flyer and a speed guy, beating you with his speed and all these crazy dives and things off the top rope. But now he's got a submission move too, which he never did before until just recently. So I don't know what's going on with all of these AEW wrestlers suddenly doing submission moves. It's really weird. But yeah, Jungle Boy got the win in a good match. Another good match, but another one of these matches that it's hard for me to suspend my disbelief. Because I know wrestling, I know it's all set up, I know all that stuff. But Big Swole and Red Velvet taking on the MK Twins. The MK Twins look like they're Samoans because you can tell by the body style and stuff. And Big Swole and Red Velvet looked absolutely tiny next to these two. So that Big Swole and Red Velvet could beat these two, it's hard of that suspending your disbelief thing. And knowing that AEW are pushing Big Swole and Red Velvet. And the MK Twins are newer to the company. They've only had a couple of matches so far. But yeah, it's that suspension of disbelief that I have trouble with sometimes. But Red Swole and Big Swole and Red Velvet, got the win in this match. Now this was a great match as well. JD Drake versus number 10 of the Dark Order. This was a good match. JD Drake's a big guy too. Number 10 is bigger built physically, but JD Drake is a big solid guy. So this was a great match. This match went back and forth for the entire match. Just when you thought somebody had the advantage, it got reversed by the other guy. Great moves. I mean, some really wicked clotheslines, lariats, punches, between these two big guys. It came down to a mistake by JD Drake that number 10 was able to get his finishing move locked in on JD Drake and made him submit. He wasn't able to quite ragdoll him with the full Nelson like he's done some other people, because JD Drake is a big boy, but he did get it locked in and he did take JD Drake to the mat and got the submission win. It was a great match. I mean, it's great to see two big guys like this go at it, because it's not always about, speed or flips or jumping off the ropes, or it just comes down to two big men beating the crap out of each other. And that's what this match was. And number 10 got the win. It was a great match. Now, this was a match that I was pretty sure was going to be a better match. And I was wanting to see, Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela get the win here, because, I didn't think there was any way that the Acclaim was going to get a win in this match. But they are being pushed heavily by AEW. So it came down to Joey Janela getting pushed off the top rope. He fell on the stage, and it looked like he hurt his knee. I don't know if that's kayfabe or not, but or reality. But it was the knee injury by Janela that Acclaim took advantage of, and they were able to get the win off of that knee injury. So again, the disbelief thing, it's hard for me sometimes, but because Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela are a really good tag team and they work really well together. But again, I guess it just comes down to that the Acclaimed are just being pushed more than Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela are. So they got the win. And I hope if it's a real injury for Joey Janela that he gets better soon. Now this was another, wow. Now this was just a match of two beasts. I mean, Bear Bronson of Bear Country versus Brian Cage. So, I mean, and that's what this was. This was just another great match of two big boys going at it. I mean, I've never seen that. I think Bear Bronson has been the only one to really push Brian Cage to this kind of a limit. And they just beat each other. It was a great match. I mean, I haven't seen anybody really do some of these big moves to Brian Cage that Bear Bronson got done. Because, and there's a couple times that I even think Brian Cage was surprised that he was able to be picked up and thrown like he was by Bear Bronson. So this is another great match of two big boys just destroying each other. But it all came down to just Brian Cage getting his finishing move in on him. And it didn't seem like he was going to be able to get Bear Bronson up in his finishing move, but he did, and it was impressive. It was an impressive feat of strength. Even Taz on commentary was like, no, don't do it. You're not going to be able to get it. But he powered through and got his finishing move, the drill claw, and got it the win. So, yeah, Brian Cage looked amazing in this match. And the last match of the night was Powerhouse Hobbs, another member of Team Taz, against Mike SYDAL. So, if you've never seen Powerhouse Hobbs, he is another big boy. I mean, some of the stuff he did to Mike SYDAL was like crazy. Like at one point, Mike SYDAL was using his speed quite effective against Powerhouse Hobbs. You know, getting out of waves, doing maneuvers, and just staying away from him. Then, out of nowhere, SYDAL ran into the ropes, came off, and explosive power. Hobbs just launched himself in the air and did a crossbody, which just looked like it killed Mike SYDAL. So, I mean, because you got Mike SYDAL, you can see him there. He's not big. Like, look at Powerhouse Hobbs. But you took Powerhouse Hobbs, catching him in midair with that crossbody, and then landing on him like a splash when they both fell to the ground. It looked like a dump truck being dropped on side of a little tiny small, dropped onto a smart car. That's the size comparison of what it looked like. And yeah, after that, SYDAL still, managed to get in some good moves, but Powerhouse, was just killing him. Every time he got him in his clutches, man, he just threw him or just chucked him like he was weighed nothing. And then SYDAL got Hobbs with a kick in the head. An enziguri kick in the head, and then ran into the ropes to come off to clothesline him. But Hobbs just sprang back up like he was down from the kick in the head. He just sprang back up and body checked SYDAL, and it looked like if the ropes weren't there to stop SYDAL, it looked like SYDAL could have flown clear out into the crowd. That's how bad it looked. And then Hobbs is just standing there looking down at him and then he gives it that smirk that he has, and then he just gave him the finishing move and then got the win. This was a great match. If you want to see what happens with, his Powerhouse Hobbs and what he can do, this was a pretty good match to watch. Well, if you enjoyed this review of AEW Dark and part of my AEW Week In Review, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next review, which will be AEW Dynamite. Welcome to Todd's Truth. Todd wrestles with the truth. My AEW Week In Review. Tonight's episode of AEW was Dynamite. This was both a great episode and a bittersweet episode. With the first match of the night being Jon Moxley defending the GP US Championship, which is New Japan Pro Wrestling's title. It's never been defended that I know of on anything but New Japan. So for New Japan Pro Wrestling to allow this to happen is huge. I mean, beyond huge. So this means that they have come together to form some kind of a wrestling alliance like AEW has with Impact Wrestling. And this was unheard of just a few months ago. But this was to be a great match. You have Jon Moxley defending the title against the legend, the absolute legend, Yuji Nagata. I mean, this guy is beyond legendary in Japan. I mean, as you can see, here he is when he got to AEW, making his AEW debut. He's a 4-time champion in New Japan Pro Wrestling and a Hall of Famer. And he taught some of the best wrestlers in Japan. Some of the guys who've held the title there, the world title, the Intercontinental title, the US titles, all these different titles, so many times. It was this guy who taught them in the strong style, which means that they don't really pull a lot of punches. Like some wrestlers, they look like they're hitting, but they're pulling punches. They do not do that. Strong style means that they're going to beat the crap out of you. And this is what this was. This was a match that was just incredible. That it went back and forth. They just were forearming each other. I thought one of their heads was going to eventually pop off. They were doing it so much. And at one point, Yuji Nagata hit Moxley with a forearm that was so hard it busted Moxley's cheek open when it hit him. So it wasn't a fake one. It wasn't set. He saw it. It hit him with it. And I guess he hit him with the point of the elbow and just busted Moxley's cheek open. And that's the kind of stuff these guys do. This is strong style. These guys will do this kind of stuff to each other all the time. And they train each other to be strong. They'll hit each other and hit each other. And that's what they do. That's why it's called strong style in Japan. And yeah, this was a great match. And Moxley got the win with his finishing move, which in Japan is called the Death Rider. It has a different name in the U.S. And people were chanting Death Rider, and people were chanting for it. But yeah, but after the match was over, Moxley, held up the belt that he won, but then he put the belt down between them, and then he bowed to Yuji Nagata, and then got down on the mat and put his head down and bowed to him, and he bowed back, and then they head bumped, and then they stood up and they both raised each other's hands up. So that was a really cool thing to see. And it was really awesome, like I said, to see the New Japan Pro Wrestling IWGP title, the U.S. title being defended on a show that wasn't a New Japan show. That was incredible to see. And I hope we see more of this crossover, because New Japan has so many amazing wrestlers that I would love to see them coming into AEW and wrestling some of the AEW guys. Because that's, Moxley was there because he's got the title right now. Kenny Omega's wrestled in New Japan. Jericho's wrestled in New Japan. Archer's wrestled in New Japan. And just a little bit of history there. Moxley won the U.S. title from Archer in New Japan Pro Wrestling before they both eventually came to AEW. So that's a little more, little trivia there. So yeah, a lot of these guys have wrestled. The Young Bucks have wrestled there. The Good Brothers have wrestled there. So many guys in AEW have all wrestled in New Japan. It would be so cool to see, some more New Japan guys coming over, because, I would love to see more of that. So the next thing of the night was Cody Rhodes coming out and giving a speech, heartfelt part of it, and part of it was, a promo about how he's not going to be the American Nightmare coming up for the pay-per-view, but he's going to be the American Dream, and he's going to be taking on Anthony Ogogo, who's been bad-mouthing the U.S. and, Britain this, Britain that, because he's a British fighter. He was an Olympic bronze medalist, boxer, which means he was just the second loser, and guess he just couldn't make it as a pro, so he went to wrestling. So he's going to be, the American Dream for that fight to take on the British bad guy, I guess. So that was cool, but it was neat to see him kind of well up a little bit when he was talking about his the birth of his daughter, which is coming up, for his first child. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, it's the whole, America good, British bad. Meh. Not really into it, but no, it was a good promo by Cody. So the next match of the night was the bittersweet part. So it was the Young Bucks taking on SCU for the World Tag Team titles. The Young Bucks are now back to their heel personas like they used to be in New Japan, which is funny since they made this deal with New Japan and stuff. So this, in my opinion, was a great match. But with the Young Bucks, the Good Brothers, and I forgot his name now. Sorry, out there just cheating up a storm. I mean, illegal maneuvers. The Good Brothers getting involved. And it came down to smashing Kazarian in the head with a spray can, spraying this. I guess it's supposed to be some kind of cold stuff you spray on, yourself to cool your muscles down after fighting. But sprayed it right in their eyes, that kind of stuff, and the cheating. And, this was not a way that you you break up one of the most legendary tag teams in pro wrestling, which is SCU. So with all the cheating, the Young Bucks did get the win, and that means that SCU has to break up. And after they got the win and laughing, about all, and with all the cheating, this was Daniels and Kazarian in the ring afterwards, because they have to break up now, which I still think this was kind of crap. But, if you're going to do this, have it a good fight. Have these two just go at it. And don't have three guys outside who are constantly cheating for the Young Bucks. And then, that doesn't do anything but sully the name of SCU that they have to break up with. You've got 5-on-2 cheating like crazy. So yeah, it was a good match. It could have been a truly great match, but with all the cheating, it was not a great match. It was just a good match. And it's sad to see SCU have to break up over something so stupid as this match. So next was an interview with who I'm so happy to see back in wrestling, Christian, and one of my favorite wrestlers ever. And he was doing an interview, and he was talking about how he has an open contract, and he dares any member of Team Taz to sign it so he can face him next week on Dynamite. And then he started to talk about how he's going to be in the Casino Battle Royal, which means the winner of the Casino Battle Royal gets a title shot anytime they want at the world title. So before he could finish saying how he was going to win the Casino Battle Royal, we had Matt Sydal walk up, which they know each other from their days in Impact. Christian said hi to him, and he told Christian that he's not going to be winning that Battle Royal, that Matt Sydal is going to win the Battle Royal. And then he said, "Oh, and surprise that you won't be facing a member of Team Taz next week because I signed the open contract for next week." So I don't know why Matt Sydal wants to get in Christian's face, other than to get beat, because there's no way Sydal is going to beat Christian. It's just not going to happen. So that was interesting to see. But so next week on AEW Dynamite, we're going to have Christian and against Matt Sydal, and Christian's probably going to kick his butt. So the next match of the night was the eliminator match for the AEW World Championship. So Orange Cassidy is ranked number 1, Pac is number 2. So this is a match. Whoever wins this match was going to go on to face Kenny Omega at the next pay-per-view. So this started off like we would expect it to. Two amazing athletes and wrestlers going at it. And then about 10 minutes into the 20-minute match, an accident happened. I think it was when Pac went to do a kick to the face, high kick. I don't know what happened. Orange Cassidy planted Orange Cassidy right on the jaw, right here. And I think it knocked him out because he went down. Pac didn't realize he was, actually unconscious. So he grabbed him and got him with something else. I can't remember the move he got him with. And then when Pac did that move, he realized that something was wrong. So he signaled the referee that something was wrong. And on the fly, they had to change the whole match, because what it came out later was that it was supposed to come out to a 20-minute draw, so that it would be Kenny Omega versus Orange Cassidy and Pac at the pay-per-view. So, a little break in the story, what was going to happen was, so they had to change it on the fly. And it was crazy. Don Callis came out acting like he was distracting the referee. Kenny Omega came out, clocked Pac in the back of the head with the championship belt. He jumped out of the ring and stayed outside going, "Oh, I don't know what happened. Oh, how did that happen in the ring?" And the referee, of course, being blind as bad that the referees are, she turned around. Both men are out on the ground, so she counted 10 count. Kenny Omega started jumping up and down like, "Yay, I don't have to face anybody at the next pay-per-view." But what the plan was, it continued, was So because since both men were counted out, it was a double count out. So it will be Kenny Omega faces Orange Cassidy and Pac at the pay-per-view. So these three in a ring together is going to be freaking amazing. I mean, you're probably not going to see a match of this speed and quality ever. I mean, because they're just these three together are just that good. So it's going to be amazing to see. So next was an interview with Hangman Page, and he was with the Dark Order, and he was being asked about how he felt about losing to Brian Cage. And he said, well, technically I didn't lose to Brian Cage. I lost to 3.5 men, as he was calling Taz's son Hook half a man. And a shot to the back of the head with the other his championship belt, Cage's. And then he got power bombed on the stage, and he said, which felt like it nearly blew out my lungs. And he said, so technically I lost to all of that. I didn't lose to Brian Cage. So he said, let's make this fair. You leave your boys behind in the back. I'll leave mine in the back. And it'll just be me and you in the ring. And let's see who actually can win this match. So that's going to be another awesome match for the pay-per-view coming up, because I want to see that rematch, because that being his first loss out of, I can't even remember how many wins he had. I think it was 20 or something. It was high. So that's going to be another great match to have that rematch. And then came the time for the coronation of the Pinnacle after the Blood and Guts match. So all of the Pinnacle members come out. They're all like congratulating each other, saying how great they are, blowing smoke. Tully Blanchard gave them all Rolexes. And they were celebrating. And then MJF got the mic and he said that he was not going to give the Inner Circle a rematch. They won. Too bad. Suck it. And so then you hear honking, and then you hear it, and you hear it's getting louder and louder as it's getting closer. And then finally they're all looking around. They're like, where's that honking coming from? And it's the Inner Circle driving this little truck with this big trailer on the back. And Jericho pops out of the trailer and says that, give us a rematch. And Jericho goes, give us a rematch now. We want a rematch. And MJF goes, no, we won. No. And so Sammy Guevara, as you can see here in the picture, grabbed this nozzle thing. It was pointed down. He pointed it up. He switched it on, and it started spraying what they said was champagne. And he sprayed it all over the Pinnacle members, hitting all of them in the face, hitting them all. They're slipping and falling all over the ring, outside the ring. Couple times, couple of members tried to go for the Inner Circle. Sammy Guevara sprayed it right in the face. They fell down, slipping and sliding. And then they sprayed MJF right in the face, which pissed him off. And so MJF said, all right, you've got your rematch. But it's going to be a Stadium Stampede match, like the Inner Circle lost last year to the Elite. But with the exception that if the Pinnacle wins, the Inner Circle has to break up forever. They can never be a team again. So that's where it ended with them having to think about it. But they're going to do it because it's going to be on the next pay-per-view. It's going to be another great Stadium Stampede match I'll put money on. And I'll put money on that the Inner Circle wins at this time, because they're not going to break the Inner Circle up and they're not going to break the Pinnacle up. They're two great teams that are really well matched. So then we had a match with Thunder Rosa, basically a squash match here. So I don't know why they bother, to do squash matches. So she took on Jasmine Allure and squashed her in about, a few minutes. So on a pay-per-view quality Dynamite like this, can't we have Thunder Rosa taking on some other member of the upper echelon of the women's talent here? Because you've got so many girls. And then there was a lame interview again with Britt Baker about how she's going to win the women's championship when she's never actually beat anybody. It's been all squash matches. So I would love to have seen Ty Conte or somebody come out and face Thunder Rosa. Let's have some of these top tier women get into it. Let's see them kick each other's butts. Let's see somebody earn a title shot at Shida. Not just Britt Baker facing nobody but, jobbers, and then getting a title shot for not actually beating anybody of any substance. So it was okay. It was a typical Thunder Rosa match. She won with a submission hold. So yeah, it was okay. It was a good match. But this was the match of the night, and it was the featured match of the night. And I don't like, so TNT champion Darby Allin with Sting in his corner versus Miro. I have made my feelings very clear on Darby Allin. I don't like him. I don't think he's a good champion. I think they pushed this guy too much, and he's not worth the push. And I love Miro. I'm excited. I was so excited when he came, because we were all hoping that how WWE just totally screwed his character up and what he could be, the monster that he could be or should be, that AEW was going to do it right. And so far it was funny when he first came in. He was a goofy character, just playing off things. And then he slowly started building up the anger and the rage, which was a perfect way to do it. Now he's a beast. He's a monster. And for this match, I was rooting all the way for Miro to take the title, because put that belt around Miro's waist and let's see who's man enough to take it off of him. But he just destroyed Darby Allin. Darby Allin had a couple of good, attempted comeback, but he's not a big person. Miro is. Some of his attacks just, bounced off Miro like, you were throwing a rubber ball at him. But there was a couple, he got on his back at one time and had a sleeper hold on him, which was pretty good, until Miro ran full speed at a wall, turned around and slammed Darby Allin against the wall full speed with his huge body, just pancaking Darby Allin. And then from then he just picked Darby Allin up and was chucking him around the ring less than that rubber ball I mentioned before. He was throwing him and ragdolling him around like nothing. And at one point, he knew he couldn't beat Miro, so he gave a fist bump to Sting, and Sting gave it back. And because they knew that Miro was going to crush him, and Miro did. Miro got the win, which I cheered because, like I said, I was rooting for Miro the whole time. So Miro's our new TNT champion. And this makes me so happy to see him doing what he should have been doing before in WWE that they screwed up, is to be just that beast, that monster that, come on, anybody who wants to step in the ring, let's see what you got. And here's a picture of him as the new champion, which I love this picture. I think it's awesome. So at the end, while he is celebrating his big win, which this got me all excited and happy because this is going to be awesome. Another big monster, the Murder Hawk, Lance Archer, walks out onto the stage, stands there and just stares at him. And Miro was celebrating. Miro turned around and locked eyes with him. And he just got this big grin on his face, and he held the TNT title up going, right here, come on. Let's do this. So I can't wait to see these two big monsters just go at it. That alone is going to be worth everything right now to see Miro and Lance Archer just beat the crap out of each other for this title. So I can't wait to see how long this is going to take to build up, or maybe they're going to have it go for a little while, of them just facing off against each other and beating up at each other. But yeah, this is going to be awesome. And a lot of stuff was set up in this thing, talking about the end of the month for the next pay-per-view. So yeah, they're setting it up really well. And next week, Dynamite is going to have some excellent matches in it too. And we're going to see the first appearance of the new champion. So hopefully he'll be defending the title there. And I really hope, the person who wants to get in the ring with him next week is ready to get killed, because he's going to destroy them. So yeah, overall, this was a great episode. I will give it, I'll give it a solid 4 out of 5. Just a few things, kept it from being a 5 out of 5 match. This Miro winning the championship for me pretty much could have pushed it to 5 by itself. But, there were a few things that just didn't bring it up to where it should have been, but which is good and bad at the same time. So, but overall, yeah, it was a really good, bordering on great episode with our new TNT champion right there. Well, if you like this review of my AEW Week In review, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next review, which will be AEW Dark Elevation.